Slinging it. Hold on a wee minute. Just like to toast this man here for an absolutely extremely well fucking done job over in Italy. Smashing everybody.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mucker. Well deserved.
Thank you.
I could just say your gamesmanship and smashing down nail targets was absolutely first class. Because them boys was thinking about you instead of their target. 100%. They're looking at that going, bang, bang, 300 feet per second, and they haven't even a shot gone yet. And they're thinking, Jesus Christ, what am I going to do here? Like, and they're thinking about you.
Well, I did want to be...
I was strategy, like.
Strategy, aye.
Yeah.
I think it worked.
It worked all right. Smoked them. Smoking a pancake.
This is my last Italian cigari.
Is that right, boy? I hope there's not any blunts on that there.
No.
So, we haven't been here for a while.
No, we've been...
Flat out doing stuff.
Flat out. I had to get a lot of my stuff, orders and stuff out before I went that way. What a trade that was, boys.
A handling, as they say here.
The flight was delayed out of Dublin, so it was an hour late, so I wasn't going to make the train that I had planned to get. Well, it was actually 3 trains, but the first train was leaving at a certain time. I was flying, sort of descending down into Rome as the train would have been departing.
Aye.
So I didn't even miss it by much, but...
Still, still by the time you get out and get your bags and fuck about and dick around and all that there crack, you know.
You're always about 45 minutes waiting on your bag.
Aye, all right.
Anyway, I went then and I hired a car. Sure, in Italy, the wheel's on the wrong side. You drive on the wrong side of the road. The roundabouts go round the wrong way.
I rung you after. I rung you out on the way home. And you were right. These cunts are mad as well. Oh, mate. I must have been squeaky bum time to get there, like hiring a car.
I think that's why I done so well, because see, all
no time to think about it. Just
all the nerves that I had,
gone.
I used them up getting to the place. Well, I was going up. First of all, I stepped into the motor. I got the keys and all. It was €350 for a Fiat Panda.
Fuck me.
You know. Anyway, I got the keys and all, and went to the car. He told me what parking space it was. Went and found it. Hopped in, threw my stuff in the boot. Hopped into the passenger seat, thinking it was the driver's seat. And then it was like, it dawned on me. I was like, aye, that's right. I was like, oh my God. Even trying to get out of the multi-story was a trade. And I was like, how am I going to? I hope I don't have to drive in through Rome. But thankfully, you're more or less straight on the motorway. Well, I say thankfully, but there was roadworks on it. It was 3 lanes of traffic. And then all of a sudden, the white lines in the road just disappeared. People were just driving wherever they thought they should be.
Sounds like AM2.
Oh, it was an absolute.
But well worth the trip. Well worth whatever it cost you to go there. It was well worth it though. Right. Because you know what I mean. That's legendary material. Like, and say that even
I couldn't believe it. But you know, I started off probably mediocre, I would say.
Aye, but I think it's maybe if you're starting slow and ending strong, then sure, that's what you're after. Like,
but I was thinking to myself, my first round was okay. I think I'd done 4 targets. My second round was the second time we were called to shoot was the worst time. It was my worst round because I was outside talking to people and mingling and all. And
you're like, what?
Yeah.
Right,
and then I went in and I went to sit beside the English boys in the stands again. And I was shooting beside an Italian man called Daniel, but his name's spelt like Daniele or something like that.
Daniel?
Something like that, aye. Bald-headed boy with a beard on him. And all I heard was, Chris, Chris, Chris. And I looked down and he's like, come on, we're going now. So I had missed the 3 minutes of practice. And I had to like run down round and go and start shooting. And I think I left 2 or 3 targets and then I just was like, what am I here for?
For the chat or for the football?
Yeah. And I just started thinking about everything very literally. And I was talking to your man John and he's very...
Same thing.
Analytical like that.
It's like, I just paid all that dough to come here and fucking stand talking shit here to these guys. Aye, what the fuck? Yeah.
And I was
Then
like,
it's game face on then, and get flick, the switch was flicked there.
aye, and a lot of boys, like sometimes you're standing there and you nearly want to get your 5 shots over and done with. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I need to get these shots out of the road, but them's the shots that you're there for. Do you know what I mean?
It was interesting when you were talking to me about it. You had said, remember we touched on it before on a podcast. We were talking about taking the shot before you're happy with it.
Aye.
And you're going, aye, sure, it'll be all right.
Aye.
And you had said to me, you said, no, any time I was like that, I stopped what I was doing. If I didn't like the shot, I didn't take the shot. And that's very important.
Aye. But I was saying, another thing I was saying was, I was talking about feelings, you know, but what I meant, you know, you're blocking out your feelings, so you don't want to feel too happy that you've done a perfect round.
Yep.
If you miss one, you don't want to feel too negative for missing it.
Yeah.
Right? But the feeling of this shot doesn't feel right, that's a different feeling, that's a physical feeling. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like you're standing there and you physically don't feel right at full draw.
Yeah,
So
you're using your gut as well.
Aye.
You're using your gut. I was like to say,
I refused a lot of shots like that. You know, I was at full draw and I was going through my aiming cycle and I was like, I don't like this. Pulled it back down and started again.
There's no time limit.
There's 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes.
But I was nearly doing all mine within a minute.
Aye.
You know, because what is a minute? It's like
60 seconds.
Aye, but what is a minute for 5 shots? It's like 12 seconds or something.
Aye.
You know, so
Aye, there's a load of time.
there's a load of time. I think, no, you know, I'm not being smart towards the Spaniards or whatever, but I think the time limit's for them.
Aye, because they hold and
Because
hold
they
and
go
hold.
down to the wire, like,
Aye.
you know.
But it
There's
doesn't seem-
some people standing at that range and they're doing their last shot in the last 15 seconds.
But I don't get it because I can understand that. See if they were winning everything.
They do shoot good, but
They do shoot good. But, you know, I don't know.
But there's a lot of them too. So
Yeah.
you know, if you say you have 20 Spaniards there, and then you have 5 French,
Yeah.
you'd expect
The Spaniards.
more Spaniards to be in the top 20
Aye.
as you would French, because there's more of them.
Aye.
You know, so
Yeah.
But it is popular in Spain. You know,
Same as Italy. The Italians love it too, don't
the
they?
Italians love it. Well, that particular wee town, Gualdo, they've got that club, you know, and they're all matching.
Did we ever try and fucking run a club here? There was
Well, the
talk of it.
shoots.
Aye, but I mean, did we not look at going up to Phil's place and doing a club up there? We looked at that. Remember you were on the shoots there?
Aye, but that's the great outdoors in Brisbane. That's where you buy your ammo. Anybody from here, it's. I said to him, I was like, well, we could run a club here and, you know, charge a $5 or a $10 entry, and I says, you know, you can have whatever comes off it, like, you know, I'll run the club, and any of the entry fees you can have it because it's your place, obviously. But that's whenever he first moved, because the shop used to be in Ballymena, so that's whenever it first moved to Brisbane, and then, you know, it just never came off. See, if you went into the wee shooting range that he had set up, that this was going to be a shooting range, it's just stacked full of like stock for his shop.
Aye, that's
you
right.
know.
I remember that.
And I was like, do you think will you ever get that read out? And he was like, oh, you know, maybe sometimes I didn't want to push him on it too much, you know.
It's his gaff at the end of the day. Anyway, walk us through a bit more of the World Championships there, because it's interesting. I'm sure people want to hear face to face what the crack was like, you know. We were talking about after that round.
Aye. So when I got to the practice range the next time, I was like, right, this is exactly how I'm going to hold the catapult. This is exactly how I'm going to reach my anchor point. Rock that in like that there.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm aiming, you know the way I was talking about controlled movement, so I would like draw out and then come down and then come up.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to lengthen that aiming cycle a wee bit because I was into all this visualising the shot and all. So I would go up, down, release. Much slower than that, obviously. And that worked quite well.
Control movement's a big thing, like.
Oh, aye. Because like in them earlier rounds, I was trying to like, I was doing a controlled movement until I come up, and then whenever I was coming up, I was wanting to hold on the target a wee bit longer, and I was starting to shake.
Aye.
And I was like, I can't do this, but I didn't feel comfortable releasing, you know, just come up and release. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I wanted to hold it just a wee bit longer.
Yep.
To help me visualise and all, like I was trying to visualise a wee black fly, and I was visualising the target getting slammed down.
The rabbit's eye.
The rabbit's eye, aye. But like the targets, the way the targets were, I could visualise a wee black fly on it lovely, and I was just thinking I'm going to splat that fly. And that worked quite well. Like on them 40mm rounds, I think I had 3 or 4 clear rounds, you know. And that's probably what won it for me.
The clear rounds?
The clear rounds, aye. And in the preliminaries, you know, on the 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, I had 3 clear rounds on the trot, which I needed, you know. I clawed back from like a...
But they were looking at you from them rounds?
Well, aye.
Preliminaries. You're nailing them things. Putting holes in the target, like. Yeah.
The target systems were wild as well, like...
Do you know what fucking... Is there not one... Was that a different competition where it kind of hit it, but it didn't get down, or... That was a different...
No, so if you hit that target there, had it a wild slap, this one here would like fall forward a wee bit and hinge.
Aye.
And then if you skimmed it, it would just straighten out again.
Aye, it's not going the other way.
No.
It's just knocking it over just to bring it back flat.
Right, aye.
But you've hit it.
Aye, but if it was flat to begin with,
you'd have knocked
it'd
it
be
over.
enough to knock it down. And it happened twice, and the second time it happened, I said to the judge, and she was like, it didn't go down. And then I had to go and say to Marco and the boys over at the table, you know, the targets are tilting forward, and it was hard to explain to him because of the language barrier. But then he was like, right, well, if that happens again, you can straighten them out. And they did, and you can see them. You can even see it on the video. You can see it, like, it's been filmed from the stands.
Yeah.
And you can even see the target, like, it's nearly like the very bottom of the circle of the target disappears a wee bit, and that's because it's...
I tilt it forward.
But it was hard too then, because if you had to get them to stop, and then everybody had to stop shooting and go and get a target straight, and that's all time, you know, everybody's sitting with bated breath, including you and everybody else on the line. Like there was a couple of times, it happened a good few times, there was a couple of times it happened and then I missed that target, and then there's a couple of times it happened and I hit it, you know, but them target systems were precise target systems. They're dear, like to buy. Yeah. You can buy them, and they're big dough, but, you know, they're for 6 and 7 mil steel.
Aye, they're not for 8 mil.
Or, well, you know, some of them do shoot 8 mil at them, like the Italians shoot 8 mil, but the Italian setups are wild, slow.
Aye.
You
like
know,
gum rubber style?
No, the Spanish use gum rubber, but it's as slow as the gum rubber because they use latex bands, but they're drawn to their face, but the bands could be 10 or 11 inches long, you know?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's just literally just enough just to knock over the thing.
Aye.
But you were putting them you were putting them into the next country.
Slam, 19 to 11. People were asking me my setup. 19 to 11, sniper sling.
0.5.
0.5 black.
Did you get through many bands? Did you get through?
None.
Just none, just the one? Not like the other time then?
No. But I didn't want to use the practice range outside because they set up a wee practice range outside and it was a marquee, but it was only maybe 7.5 or 8 metres.
Aye, it's giving you a wrong reading then, isn't it?
Aye, and so it was outside in a clearing, like on a wee patch of grass beside the venue, and like in the morning time the sun was coming down in sideways, so you'd pull your catapult back and, you know, you'd have sun in your eyes, or it was just not a good thing to practice. It was good that they had that 3 minutes, like say you're round say I'm in the first lot of shooters and you're in the second lot of shooters, right? Yeah. They'll go, but they call it battery, so it must be like grip 1, battery 1 to the practice range, 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Shooting on, and it was on a timer on the wall.
And then the other boys is 3 minutes to get in then.
And then once that 2.5 minutes was up, you went on to the shooting range. And when that 2.5 minutes started for your actual scored round, it was the same 2.5 minutes practice for the next boys in the practice zone.
It's just going in a circle.
It goes in a circle. So before every round, you had 2.5 minutes warm up, and you could even like sometimes they'd all stop shooting. So you know, even me, like a lot of times I went and I didn't shoot practicing for 2.5 minutes. If I had 3 good shots on the trot, I was like, that's enough.
Aye.
You know, but if there was times I went to that practice range and I maybe missed 4 times on the wee spinners, and then had 3 hits in a row, and then I was like, right, that's me now.
Aye.
And then I went and had a good round. Do you know what I mean?
There's no point in overdoing it. Like once you're on, you're on.
Once you're on, you're on, and you can put yourself off.
Aye, if you miss again after the M3, then you start again. Then you get 3 clear hits, and that's me done. And then if you don't, you're chasing it. Then no, you're right. But that's a psychological game there, like, isn't it?
Yeah. And you can see people on the shooting line, and they're like looking around, and they're between shots, they're looking over at other people's scores. And what I seen a lot of was like flinching and plucked releases and stuff. Like people would be aiming and aiming. They'd stand, their stance would be perfect, their draw would be perfect. They'd aim up, everything would be perfect, and then when they let go, they would do like this little, you know.
Yeah.
And you would hear, and there's a wild thud off the backstop, and you can, like, if you sat with your eyes closed and listened to somebody, you'd know if it was a hit or a miss.
Aye.
You know, and you can hear this thud off the backstop. But that's just that's like a nervous twitch of a thing.
Sure, we touched on that here before, didn't we? And that's a hard thing.
But it's so much more pronounced.
Hard thing to get rid of, like.
Oh, aye. And then if you still have that at all, it's so much more pronounced when you're on that.
On the line?
Yeah.
Because you're all tensed up. You're fucking.
Yeah, and it's like
fork hitting and all.
Aye. There's a boy, an English shooter called Ted Leary, and he shot himself 4 times in the hand. And that's what that would have been like, plucked, released nerves.
Fuck me.
And he's a good shot, you know.
Just nerves.
Just nerves, aye.
It's not a good experience hitting yourself in the hand.
No. 4 times on the trot, he had the bandage it and all.
I still have a lump there from fucking 16mm leads.
That there?
No, I had this, what was that there? I was taking a shot at a pigeon there the other week, right? And there wasn't that much of panic to get at it, because I knew it was going to move. I had to jump out of the forklift and all. So I jumped out and run behind the canteen like that there, and I put the ball in, but there was a fucking twist. There's a twist in the bands. Just, fuck, did that happen? The only thing I can think of was there was a fucking twist in the bands, because he was up high like that, and I drew back.
Did you hit yourself in the hand?
I did, aye. Fucking did. There, exactly there. Just, you're right, just there.
That wee purple mark?
Aye, just right there.
I would say Ted's hand's still marked yet.
So, I was like, fuck me, I couldn't tell you the last time I fucking done that, but it was a twist. Must have been a twist in the band or something.
I done it, I think in 2019 or something on a rabbit. It's not there anymore, but...
Because it said I'd fucking get it.
No, it wasn't. It was the rabbit was running. So I was following him like that, with a catapult, and everything was dead on, except when I released, I was still leading him.
Oh, so it's hit your hand.
So I literally like done everything right, and then just laid the hand into the shot.
Aye, bang.
Yep. Wee fork hitting that mini hammer as well. There's white sparks and all of it because it's titanium.
Jesus. So, what about the final? What about, there was the European.
So
you nailed the European first?
No, it was international.
International first, was
it? There was.
Aye, that's right.
There was a win of Chinese there, and they were good.
World champion there?
No. He wasn't there. I don't know how they select who's going or what.
Maybe it's just to do, maybe it's their social credit score, maybe it's jaywalk. I seen the World Champion jaywalking there, you're not going to the World Championships, son, you can't get on the bus. Because your wee QR code that's fucking tattooed on you is not working.
Yeah.
You're staying at home, kid.
You're staying at home.
You're chopping wood.
But no, they were very good. There was a female shooter there, and she was very, very good as well. She hit a few maximums. But the guy was like hit and miss.
You're like Clint Eastwood sitting there smoking that thing there.
These are the same ones Clint Eastwood smokes.
Are they, boy?
Aye.
Did you have the music playing in your head now? Saying you're
oh.
See, you're rocking up to the car. You like the good, the bad, the ugly. What would you have been? I don't know what you'd have been.
There's a man over there, an Italian man. I can't mind his name, but I know him to see him, and I met him in 2018, and then he came to Cheltenham in 2019. That comp, the ESF comp that I won. So I met him there again, and then I met him, like there's a few Italians that'd be the third time I've met him. So anyway, I went up to the cafe, and here he was having a bit of food and all, and he's like, do you want some ice cream? I was like, aye. So he went and he bought me ice cream and all the rest, and then I says, where will I get cigarettes? So he says, come on, I'll take you, even though he can't speak English, but it's a whole load of gesturing and basic words, all the rest. So we went and got some cigarettes. I bought the cigarettes, I wanted it. And he says to me, or no, before he left, he ordered a packet of these cigars.
Let's see them.
They're coffee flavoured.
Let's try a wee toke rabbit there.
So he says to me, he ordered a packet of cigars, and then he says to me, do you want to try one?
Smooth.
They're the same ones Clint Eastwood smoked, in The Good, the Bad and Ugly. Because I was looking to get them
Good, the
online.
bad and the grafting.
I was looking to get them online. Anyway, he bought a packet of these and he gave me one. And I was sitting outside and I must have been smoking it for an hour, and every time I was called to shoot, I left it down on the curb like that, and then went and shot and came back out and lit it up again and smoked it. So when I was leaving then, I bought 4 packets, and this is the very last one.
You were saving that for the day, weren't you? Me on the vape too, manly as fuck. I'm on the fucking cigars, Clint Eastwood.
But
You couldn't see Clint Eastwood rocking a vape, could you?
aye, so the finals, let me see, right? I've said this a few times, it's hard to follow. I didn't even really understand it until after the competition was shot. Right, so
Just shoot the targets, aye, all right, there, all.
So it was 6 rounds on the multiple size WSA targets, which is 40, 50, 60, 70 and 80. The 40's worth 10 and the 80's worth 2,
right,
going down in 2s, right? 6 rounds like that. Then after them 6, you're on to 2 rounds of 40mm targets, 540s, worth 10 each, right? That's the opening 8 rounds. So once that opening 8 rounds is done, then it was top 30. They cut that down to the top 30 best scores. Now the boy in 30th is never going to make it the first.
No.
But the way, I'm glad the way it worked was, I'm glad it worked the way it did, because I thought like knockout competitions in the UK was like a semi-final was a new score again, everybody starting from 0, or a quarter-final. And I don't like that, you know, like you can't, if you shoot far better than me in the opening rounds, but I make it into the quarter-final along with you, and then I do a better score in the quarter-final than you do, that doesn't mean I'm better than you, does it?
No.
Because you've shot 8 rounds better than me. I've just clawed it back in a knockout. You know, so
Overall, you're the better shooter overall
right.
on the day. Yeah.
So in the like back in the old UKCA days, United Kingdom Catapult Association, like if you made a quarter-final, say you shot 3 rounds or whatever, and then you made a quarter-final, it was a, you know, that score in that round then determined the semi-final, never mind the rounds before it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Seems fair the other way, doesn't it?
all the points were carried over. So I think I should have had my other phone. I had all the scores. Like I was coming out of it, I think I was in like 7th or something. And then I shot that good going through it, but I could have shot better. You know, and probably my competitors as well probably could have shot better, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's a different animal, like, you know. It'd be easy for a spectator to sit and say, you know, say somebody that's been shooting a good few years, oh, I could hit 5 out of 5 every time on them.
Different when you go to the lane.
You know?
I noticed on...
And see the boys that say that, see that ego,
That's what beats them.
that's what beats them.
Because they're expecting.
Aye.
And then when it doesn't happen, shut the fuck.
Yeah. It happened me, it's happened me.
I seen there, the other way, was it, it went from, did it go from 30 to 60?
No.
And you were nailing the small ones first and then going up the road.
I always went.
But that's psychological too, like, because if boys, I watched the thing and boys was hitting the 60 and going down the road. But if I was standing beside you, right, on that one, and you've just nailed the smallest one, then it's easier for you to hold the road up when I've hit the 60 and then I have to go down the way.
Yeah.
That's going to play in your head, like.
Well, see, in 2018, everybody was talking about, because this is the first time the WSA was used on a big scale, that target system of 40, 50, 60, 70, 80.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, what tactics are you going to use, all the rest, and everybody was talking about, you start here and go down, or start up and work up, or, do the easy ones first. And it's all very, whatever your ability level is, but say that you fancy yourself or you think you're going to be up there, or you've won competitions before, or you're capable of good scores or whatever. My thinking is, hit the wee one first. You've just come out of the practice area, which is all 40s.
And you're on it, like.
Right?
Yeah.
See if you see. So a common tactic is, and the Chinese team sort of invented it in 2018 because they were the first ones that we all witnessed doing it, and then everybody else adopted this, was shoot the 60 first as like a warm-up, and then go 50, 40, and then do the last two, because the last two are only worth 4 and 2. You need them smaller ones.
Yeah.
You need that 10 and that 8. You need to get them. So that's all right, 60 first. It makes sense. Tactically that makes sense, but see, whenever you go for that 60, that 40 is in your head until you fire a shot at it. And then if you miss it, see when you're shooting at the 60, you're thinking about the 40. See, if you hit your 60 and now you're on to your 50, you're thinking about the 40. Get the 40 out of the way. You've been just practicing on 40s.
I just nail it.
Bang the 40, aim up, and see whenever you draw, and I done it a good few times, see when you pull that catapult up and release, and you nail that 40 down, then you just go, the rest of this is wee buns. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it is, and you just make one reasonably difficult shot makes the rest of your round a piece of cake. Because
your confidence is up as well.
Your confidence is up. See if you get a good solid hit in that, bang, it's straight down, you're like, this is wee buns.
Nail the 40. Like you say, you've just been practicing the 40s and nailing them. Why not go for the 40 then?
Go for the 40 right away, and it just makes your last 4 shots easy. Yeah. Whereas if you start on your 60, the 40's in your head until, and like you'll see boys that'll go 60, 50, they'll miss the 40 twice, and then they'll maybe get it in their last shot.
But John Jeffries says, did I see him do a clear round? I did, didn't I?
I think that was his only clear round, I'm not sure. I think John came in 2018, John came 11th, and there today, or the other week, he came 12th. And
which is still good.
Oh, he's very, very, very good shooter. Very good shooter.
And what about then the Europeans? What happened there?
So the international, it was 10 opening rounds, and then it went to knockouts, top 30, and the top 30 went top, and this was all in 40 mils. It went top 30, top 20, top 10, top 8, top 6, 3, 2, the final. And then once that was over, that was international, so that was all the competitors that were there. It went back to the top 30 Europeans out of the whole, after the preliminary scores.
Yeah.
So it reverted back to your preliminary scores. And once I won the international, it was like, right, we're coming back, and they started calling people out, and I says, Tet was recording it for me, and I says, wait, you see this, I'm going to do these boys here now again. And I don't know what kind of, it's well hard to even describe the mindset you went into.
It's an aggressive, you went in an aggressive manner, like.
An aggressive manner.
Confident aggressive manner, because you just done the international.
Yeah.
It's like, right, bang, and we're fucking around here.
Yeah.
Like.
And it was, and that had sort of spawned from the second round when I was late, and I had what I considered to be a poor round. I was like, what am I doing here? What did I come here for? To be outside talking nonsense. And I had no beer as well. Not a drop of beer.
Strange. Maybe it was good. Did you just get off? park the motor and then go and register, and then that was you bang into the comp. That was maybe a fucking good thing.
I got there on the Friday and went and registered, and we had a big WSA meeting. I think Shanghai's on annually, but there's one on next year.
We'll have to get the credit score up to go to that there, won't we?
There's no credit score.
Huh?
And then I think the next World Cup is in Spain in 2026.
Not the pizza, is it?
And the Spaniards are wanting to have 60mm targets in the finals.
Why's that?
Because I think that's what they do.
60mm targets. But sure, that just makes it easier for you.
Well, you know, the thing about 60mm is it'll be like, there'll be more shoot-offs because there'll be more clear rounds.
Aye.
So it might be a bit better for spectators, but the last time I done 60mm in a final was in a competition in Dublin that John Jeffries came over to and Mark Clark came over to, and I didn't miss any. And it was 10 targets.
10
targets, aye. I done 3 rounds of 10.
Fuck, even I could hit 60 now.
60s or 50s maybe, I don't, but see, that's the thing that they do. I think 60 is their smallest target, because they have the Spanish knockdown system, and they don't even use knockdowns, they use like clays. And the way they're mounted is they're mounted on a thing, on like a foam back, and there's a stick comes out and then the target's on it there. So all you can hit's the target. You know, you can either hit the target or miss. It's not like you're hitting the base plate that it's on or whatever, and you smash them. And I think the smallest of their 7 target system is a 60, but although I could be wrong.
I don't know how that works out, and you're going to a place where it's 40mm targets.
No, well, it's because it's a WSA competition, it'll have to be voted on. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't think it will be 60s, I think it'll be 40s.
There should be a standard, and that's just it. Really, like, shouldn't there?
Well, that's what I say. I don't think the guy proposed. It was that fella Oscar that came second in the Europeans, and he came third in the international. He was speaking for the Spaniards, and that's what he said. He had proposed that that's what it'd be, but it'll have to be voted on. I don't think it'll. I don't think it'll come off.
So did you celebrate at all?
Aye, on the Saturday night, I had a few beer. Didn't get in till about 3 o'clock. There was a big massive party in the town square. A big massive party, it was class. And the Italians only do wee fruity glasses of beer, like, you know, they're not pints. So you're just throwing them into you, do you know what I mean?
Are you 3 of them into you?
Aye.
They do like knockdowns, don't they?
Aye. And but they put on a big meal and all. Like, we got a meal and the bottles of wine, 3 bottles of wine at the table, only I don't drink wine.
Oh, thank fuck.
But I was dying the next day. I didn't get into about 2:30 or something that night.
And you didn't have to travel the next day, did you? Or no, thank God for that. Imagine you get up the road, hung over, driving on the other side of the road.
Oh my God, I couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it? You'd be road off.
Aye, but the Czech team was unbelievable. Like, they went to the World Cup in 2018 and they were atrocious. You know? And I don't even think they would mind me saying that, because they know they were.
Aye.
And then they just changed everything that they were doing. And they just, John, I was talking.
I like hearing that there, because that's somebody that's going, right, what went wrong? And they're looking at it, and they probably went and dissected it and looked how they were shooting, and all just took it apart and they made it better.
Aye.
That's good, that's positive, like, I like that.
What John said to me was, he's into target shooting now. He's into the World Slingshot Association, and he goes, right, what is all the best shooters doing? And that's what he done.
Yeah.
And like, there's so many people that go, it doesn't matter what you do, and it's, you know, there's no wrong way and all. It's a load of nonsense.
There is, like.
And there was a guy there in Italy. I don't know where he was from, but I was watching him and he pulled his catapult like this. And he hit his target. And I mind him watching him.
He must be cross dominant.
I don't know, he's aiming like this. So.
Bet you he's cross dominant.
Probably a big massive tweak and all in the pouch, and he hit his target. And I was sitting beside Nathan Masters, and I says, even though he had just hit that target, that's still wrong that he done.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's cross dominant. It's like me being right-handed but left-eye dominant.
Well, he doesn't even have to be cross dominant.
So he's going.
Aye.
He's going like that there, like where you should be shooting with your dominant eye, not your dominant hand.
Aye.
Yeah.
But he wants to hold in his dominant hand and shoot off his dominant eye.
Aye. It's like me trying to shoot a fucking rifle there, right? I want to shoot it right-handed with my left eye, so I'm going over there. It's just not going.
You can't do it.
You can't do it like that.
But then John was telling me he went to China as well, and he was telling me that like now he's just bang into this, and he was sharing. Do you ever see liquid chalk? You know way weightlifters would chalk their hands and all. So he had this liquid chalk with him, and he was
pouch
for his hand.
Aye.
No, he didn't put it in the pouch. He put it in
for his pouch hand.
Oh aye. And I was like, it was wild hot there. See that Saturday, it was roasting hot, mate.
That would have fucked your release up, like.
So he was sharing it with me, and what I was doing with it was, and I was torturing him for it. Like, see, 2 minutes before every round, I was going up to him, and it was like alcohol in it, so it would go on like a liquid, and then it would be nearly dry straight away, and it would leave like a white residue.
Aye, like also.
Aye, just like that, aye. So I was putting it on there, and I was putting it on there, and I was putting it on the top side of my thumb, and I was putting it onto my cheek, on my face there. And I swear, because see at the start of the competition when I was doing that, the pouch, microfiber pouch was sticking in my fingers. My hand was sticking to my face, it didn't feel right. And after he was sharing that with me, I was running about with a big white smear on my face and white fingers and all. But it worked a charm. I'm going to keep that up, aye. Yeah. But that experience of that whole, the way everything came together for me, that'll help me in the future. Because I'll be able to.
And also the people that didn't do well, like, like the way you got the checks there, you said they were atrocious in 2018, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they went away, come back, made improvements.
Well,
I like that. That's
aye. See if you looked at the top 10, I think 5 of them's check.
Aye, that's great.
You know,
that's
and
great. They'd be happy with that there.
Oh, aye, thrilled.
I'd say. So even if they didn't win anything or whatever, the improvement they made, they went back, made improvements, come back, and there's 5 of them in the top 10. Like, you have to be happy with that. Like.
Well, that guy Michael Danis, that came second in the international and third in the European one, he was in first place nearly all day. It was only whenever we got to the finals I went by him, and I beat him by 1 target.
Yeah.
1 target.
Right down to the balls.
Right down to the final. He went into the final at 1 target lead on me, and I hit 4 targets, and he hit 2. So.
Aye, yeah. You just beat him by 1.
Now I had 2 that didn't go down, but say you didn't count them because they didn't count them. No, them 2 that fell forward on me.
Yeah.
But then I got loads straightened out for me after that.
But that's going to play in people's heads.
I played in my own head. Because I'm sitting waiting and I'm like, you know, eager to get my shots away too. But not too eager, but I'm like, just straighten that thing and let me shoot. And then there were some times, like there was I was shooting from left to right on the 40 mils. So I was starting at the far away one where the 80 would have normally been and working that way. You know, sort of towards, you know, working that way. And so there was one time I hit my first target down, bang, it went down, hit my second target, bang, it went down, and then the 4th target fell forward. And I was like, right, I'm going to nail this 3rd target before I say to him. And I was standing at full draw like that there, and I was just about to let go, and the judge put his hand on my shoulder like that, as if to say stop, and went straight at my target. And I was like, ooh, I was like just that far away from letting go. You know?
Were you happy you done that, or?
Didn't mind. Didn't mind. I was happy that they were straightening them out for me.
Yeah.
Because if I had a tickled them, they weren't going to go down. You know, and there was one, you know that fella Oscar? think I beat him by 3 targets in Euros. But there was one time, the Spanish gum rubber's quite slow. There was one time he was holding, and then he let the shot go, and the target, he hit the target, and it went like this, and then straightened back up again.
Oh, fuck me.
And you don't get it. If they don't go down, you don't get it. And the Chinese shooter, the girl, I don't know what ammo she was shooting. She was maybe shooting 6, but she was shooting full butterfly. And the same target on her went down and came back up twice. Boom, up like that. And then she looked, I don't know what way they scored it. She looked around at her judge, and then she shot at the same target again. So I don't know, the judge mustn't have given it to her. Boom, twice in a row. The same target.
I'd be fucked.
Down and back up.
I'd be asking questions there, like, because you can clearly see that you hit it and you knocked it down, but it bounced back up again. How do you, you know?
See, there was a big discussion about this at the meeting on the Friday night, and they were like, it won't happen. And if it does happen, it'll be as rare as hen's teeth. And not
Twice in a row.
Twice in a row.
It may have been right.
But the Italians aren't shooting full butterfly, are they?
No.
No, that setup she had could have been doing 350 FPS.
Aye.
You know?
Aye.
But it's just, see, whenever now not all the Italians, because see the man that was shooting beside me, Daniel or whatever his name was. Danny. We'll call him Danny. Danny was shooting like semi-butterfly, and Danny was slamming them down. I mean, boom, boom, boom. But in that club in Gualdo, a lot of them shoot these big sort of hammer grip type yokes.
With the forks coming around like this here.
The forks come around the back, and then there's a tab on them.
Yep.
And then the band. You know, so see whenever they release, there's quite a noticeable time between the release and the hit. You know what I mean?
Hey, go and make a cup of tea.
Well,
Smoke a cigar.
oh,
Bit of subsonic ammo. I saw a good outcome for you all in. A great outcome for you all in. Well
are you
done.
going to the next one with me?
Where's that? Spain? Ibiza? We're going to Ibiza.
We'll go to Ibiza after we won.
We could do a 4-man team. I could get an old wig or something, like an old nose and fucking glasses. I mean, you could do a 4-man team.
You had to shoot for Ireland, but
Sure, that's alright.
I said to Paul, you know, shoot for Ireland. And he had to think about it.
So where are we? Like, where do we live? Where is it we live?
Well, you know what the crack is there. But
Out there.
But aye, it was brilliant, mate. It was brilliant.
Well done.
Nathan, that's another thing. Nathan Masters, whenever he went to Italy in 2018, he was in the top 10, and this time he didn't do that good. But he's got what is it they call it?
Tennis elbow.
Tennis elbow, and it's hurting him every time he releases. And I was watching him, and you can nearly see it.
Aye, flinching.
Aye. You know, so I felt sorry for him in that sense. But he says he's going to try, because he shoots under his non-dominant eye, and he shoots instinctive. And he says he's going to swap hands and try to learn how to aim.
There's a boy I follow there on YouTube and Instagram, Remy Martin, right? Bow hunter, right?
Was he on Meat Eater?
He's a meat eater. He's done a couple on meat eater, done 2 or 3 on meat eater, and he had carpal tunnel. I think it was in his wrist. He had something wrong with his wrist, so he couldn't pull back on the compound bow. So he used a mouse tab. He pulled back on the compound bow with his mouse, with the arrow knocked into the D-lip, pulled it back, and he's took fucking elks and fucking all sorts of shit with a mouse tab.
My taste wouldn't hold up to that.
Man, Jesus Christ. I just need to look at the mouse tab and mind follow it.
A mouse
Too
tab?
much years of abuse. A mouse tab, aye. He had to pull that compound bow back with a mouse tab. No, them Yanks are like
There you are, Nathan. If you're watching.
mouse tab. Check out Remy Martin on Meat Eater or YouTube.
Oh, here there was a Spaniard. Did you hear this? So you know why the Spaniards aim? Last time the Spaniard that came third I can't remember what his name was. He was in Cheltenham as well. He came third in the World Cup in 2018, and then he went to Cheltenham. He didn't place. When he was in the World Cup in 2018.
Is that a young cub?
No, middle-aged man. He had like a black sticker there on his nose, right there, right. So I don't know, but I assume that this is to do with like alignment and head tilt, because he'd be looking at this black sticker and then looking at his sights, which would work. So that there, at that one there just past, there was a Spaniard there, and he had a pair of glasses, right?
You told me this, but...
And he had, right, so the glasses, you imagine a set of glasses, the bridge, 2 lenses, and then 2 legs coming around your ears, right? He had 1 lens on one side cut directly in half, down the middle of the lens. So when he was aiming, he could still pull back to his temple, and then he still had the part of the lens he needed to see his target.
It's like something out of, like, driving an Apache gunship. With front and heads up display.
And Gasper, he's wearing glasses now full time. He says his eyesight's deteriorating, and he's aiming like side shooting. He's not aiming traditionally like Spaniards aim upright.
Yeah. Smoked like the Europeans.
Aye, and he still must be on a learning curve with it.
Aye, the glasses.
I've
had to wear the glasses there, so I have.
I'm supposed to wear glasses since I'm like P5.
I seen, yeah.
But I have astigmatism in my eye, but my eyesight isn't that bad, although Paul would say that I'm blind, because Paul would see something. See that day me and Paul filmed Sling'in it here, Paul seen 2 or 3 squirrels, like, you know, he'd be just looking and be like, oh, there's a squirrel over there. Or if we're driving along, he would spot something half a mile away. And then he would say to me, do you see that there? Do you see it? And I'd be going, where? And he'd be going, you're fucking blind.
I remember you telling me there before, you're shooting improved when you put your glasses on.
There was a big debate I had whether or not to wear the glasses. And I was like, asking once and all. I mean, I phoned Frank Bass one day and I was like, what do you think? Should I wear the glasses? Or...
What do you think of them bad boys?
Oh, I did sophisticated.
Glasses shooting, let's see. What I don't like about them is, see when you're looking down the band, it's kind of, see that part? It's nearly blocking the fort tip.
That's why you need, see the glasses that I got? See if you get a pair of glasses, and you know the way you get glasses there and there's 2 wee stools that come out off the frame? They're no good, because then you're looking at the rim of the lens.
Yeah.
You need ones like that, what you have, where the actual frame is sitting on your nose. So there, I get 2 pairs like that, wee slim frames, and kind of a big lens, but not too big to foul my anchor point. But when I'm looking, I'm still looking through the lens, and I can see crystal clear. But what I don't like about them is there's a variation of where they're sitting on your nose. And I don't like them pushed up in dead tight.
See, I like them up in there. I don't like them. But it's that.
But then if you move your brow at all, you're pushing them down, aren't you?
What could I hit your phone from here? Do you think with the glasses on? No.
I think that'd be a bad job.
I think it'd be a bad job. Let's see. It's still getting used to it. Like, so, if I seen something up in the tree now, like I wear them all the time now, but if I seen something up in that tree, I'd have to take them off for a couple of seconds to my eyes adjust.
So do I.
And then shoot.
But I didn't use the sight as well on me. That's the cat I used there. This is the one. That's
that wee
snake
wrap,
skin S90.
Yeah.
And I didn't use.
There's a bit of wall there too.
I didn't use the peep sight.
Yeah.
Because I haven't used the peep sight long enough. I have shot them exclusively since.
My water companion.
That's
S90, I know. It's just.
I've shot them exclusively since 2019 without a sight. I know the sight's out a good while, but.
Not there. That's a wee. That's an 85, that one.
Yours is 85, mine's is 90.
Yeah. It just feels smaller.
Because that's thin wrap.
Yeah, it feels good.
I've been thinking about making one with a flick handle.
I like them.
Because the way I was bracing it at the comp was, I was like...
That comes up, that's good.
The way I was bracing it at the comp was, I wasn't choking right up the handle like that. I was sort of bracing in paw braces this way. I'm like holding down low on the handle. And I'm like that. Yep. And I had my thumb up past the fork tip, but I had the corner of this fork tip showing.
Yep.
And I made sure to hold that. See, when I was coming out of the practice round, after my last shot, which I always made sure was a hit,
yeah.
I never let go of the catty the way I was bracing it for that hit. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I got my catty out in the practice range, got my hold right the way I wanted it, let my shots go, 3 hits, and then I gripped that like that. I didn't adjust that grip whatsoever.
You just kept her there?
I kept it and went over, set out my 5 balls on the little granite thing, and then ready to go, and it served me well. That was such a key thing to like them good rounds that I shot and winning it and all the rest, was just making sure everything
consistent.
Was the same. Yep. And me and Jan had great conversations. And I like his mindset. But one thing he said to me that I don't really agree with was whenever he's aiming at the target, he's not even thinking about hitting the target. He's just making sure everything he's doing is right. Which is okay, and I get as ideology.
It
but
should hit, if everything else is right, that should hit the target. Yeah.
But I'm visualising the target going down, you know?
Yeah, I'd rather do it that way.
And that
visualising the target hitting.
Because there's a thing about that in that Slingshot shooting book.
Right, visualisation.
Visualising, and it's like it engages part of your brain that is...
Switches it on.
Aye.
Rectangular activating system.
Aye.
That's what it is.
Aye.
It's like when you wake up in the morning and you think, fuck, I'll go to work. Your mind is already in the shit.
Yeah.
It's already programmed for shit day.
Yeah.
And it's the same way if you're thinking, you're visualising the shot, hitting the shot, it's called your rectangular activating system. That's what you call it. That's what you're doing. You're making it into a positive.
What's it called?
Rectangular activating system. That's where when you wake up and you start the day with a positive thought, the rest of your day will be positive. If you start the day with a negative thought, say it's, oh fuck, it's Monday, then you're already going, you're programmed your fucking mind to have a shit day.
Aye, it's no good.
It's no good, like.
And every morning I get up, or the day of the shoot, when I got up, I had a cold shower.
Aye.
And I mean a cold shower. I don't mean I turned it down a wee bit, you know, so it was tepid.
Aye.
I didn't jump into a cold shower. I had a warm shower, and got my body up there, nice temperature, and cleaned myself and all the rest, and then poof, as cold as she would go.
Power shower to you, bit.
Aye, and the plumbing from that in that area is all fed
water.
up. Aye, it's all spring water off the mountain, so it is cold, like.
Aye.
Water. Aye.
Water. No, your rectangular. You should try that there. Your rectangular activating system. Just have a thought. Start the day with a positive thought. Can't wait to fucking start the day. Even it's not like, oh, I can't wait to get to work, because you know what I mean. If it's a different thing, say you have a hobby or something like it likes me, and you go to bed fucking thinking about something and wake up thinking about something, you know, something we're interested in. If you have a positive thought first thing in the morning, it'll set you up for the rest of the day. It's the same as where you're visualising there. That's what you're doing. Like you're setting your mind up to see a positive outcome.
Or did you ever like be sick or unwell and think to yourself, oh, I took it for granted all them times I wasn't sick? You know what I mean? Like you just feel god awful. Say you get the flu or something, or you come down with a bad bug, you're just like, oh.
But all the times you didn't get it.
Aye. But then whenever you feel dead on, when you feel great, you just...
But your mind's programmed. It's easier to think of the negative than it is the positive.
Aye.
My daughter she's having issues with that. She always thinks of the worst outcome. So I say to her, well, what is the opposite of the worst outcome? And then I get her to say the positive outcome. I say, why not? Sure, just think of that instead of the other one.
The young fella that works for me, he's like, on a Monday, he'd be like, oh, Mondays are awful, aren't they? I'm like, no, they're great.
Aye, that's it. It's the same thing.
Thank God we can be out here and be working, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then I'll say to him, like, he'll go, oh, this is crap, and I'll go, you're doing something that 99% of the young boys won't do. Do you not take some...
I pride in that.
Aye.
Yeah.
Or can't do.
It's like a boy I used to work with, Pokey, he was a foreman. And he said, you know the way the gutters will be running down the site, right? And the boy, one of the plumbers, said to him, he goes, could you not scrape that or do something? And Potty says to him, do you know what, see that there, that's your fault.
What?
Here's the boy, you know the gutters?
Aye.
I'm walking through the gutters, he says, that's your fault. He says, how do you work that out? He goes, see when you were at school, were you at the boy at the back of the class laughing and joking and teeing and getting on? He says, aye, that was me. He says, well, that's why you're walking through them gutters. I laughed, I never forget that. I thought that was a builder. Like, he said, them gutters is your fault, that's why you're there.
I was at a restaurant the other night and the waitress came over and she had a big black eye. So I made sure to order my food really, really slow because it's obvious that she had a problem listening.
Cut!
Demonetised.
Oh, Jesus, boys is here. Some crack, boy.
Right, well, I think that'll do us.
Yeah, it's good to be back, guys. We'll be a bit more regular now that Chris obviously is back.
Are you taking the 12th fortnight?
Taking the 12th fortnight, we'll get up and we'll do a couple over the 12th fortnight.
I'd like to do another aiming video, but like how to aim, but I want it sort of different from the ones I've done before, and I want to like.
That's funny, man.
I want. I should have problem listening. I want to structure it in such a way where it's like easy to absorb the information. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we should maybe do it in a way. Say like pin a target up against that tree there. You know, because you're still in shot, and just do it off that tree. You know, tug it through. You know, like a wee spinner attached on the screwed in or some way, rig it up somewhere and all like
Yeah.
But all good.
Right.
We're getting smoked out here like these Europeans.
Smoked like the Europeans. Roll on the next one.
Yep.
Leave us comments. Anything else you want us to go over? If you've watched this far, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Yep. All good.